everyone, and welcome to Transit Online. My name is Rebecca and I'm one of the volunteers here in Mosaic. Today we're wrapping up our series called It's Personal. Throughout this series we've been learning about the story of Zacchaeus encountering Jesus. And for such a short story, there are so many good lessons in it. In today's lesson, we're focusing on how the crowd responded and how their response was shut down because Jesus made it personal. So let's get into the lesson and I'll see you guys after.
Wow, look at this. This right here is 7th grade Marquise. All right, this is me before, this is after, although you see me right now. This is who I am, a lot less hair, but this is the 7th grade version of me. I love looking at this photo as I look back at it. As a matter of fact, I love looking at my before and afters when it comes to my life, especially that photo, because before football, I was kind of, just shy and just thought about myself and didn't think people would like me or even accept me. But then I found football. And after I found football, my life changed for the better. I found friends that I'm still friends with today. I found coaches that still are mentors for me today. And I found a brotherhood, which I thought would never be possible for me. You see, I think we all love a good before and after because if we're honest, most of us assume that people, they can't change. We think we're all just sort of the way we are for better or for worse. You think your sister will never stop borrowing your stuff without asking. Your brother will always be annoyed with you. Your parents will never be less strict with the rules in your house. Maybe your best friend will always be talkative. Your coach will never stop yelling. You see, that bully on your team will always be a bully. Whoever it is, we see those people and often think that they're not capable of change. And truth be told, I think a lot of us apply this same line of thinking to ourselves as well. If you're anything like me, you might want to change something about yourself, but you think it's too hard or maybe even impossible. Sometimes not changing could be good though, especially if things are going pretty great for us. When we're making good grades or killing it on the team or dating someone awesome or surrounded by amazing friends, that's when we don't mind if things stay the way that they are. But when things are hard, when we're struggling with anxiety or failing math or fighting with a best friend or trying to cover up a bad decision or choice, then we feel like things will never change. Maybe you feel this because of the circumstances that you're in. It's where you live, or the tensions in your family, or the illness you're battling, or the fact that your family doesn't have a lot of money. Those sorts of things feel difficult to change because for the most part, you can't control them. You didn't choose them. And you can't do much to make them different. Or maybe you feel this way because of the fact that you're in school. The adults in your life still seem to have a lot of control in your world. They get to decide a lot of things that impact your life, like your curfew, if you're allowed to have a phone, who you can hang out with after school. Right now, it feels like you don't have the power to change much of anything at all. Maybe you feel this way because of mistakes you've made. You've lied, you've cheated, you've covered up bad choices, and now you feel like those things define you. Like you'll never be able to change or move on from those mistakes. Or maybe you feel this way because of what you see in other people. Your mom, your dad, your best friend, your older brother haven't been able to change, and you've been told a million times that things will be different. But they're not. Nothing has changed. And eventually you start to wonder if change is even possible. If those people can't change, why should we think anybody can change? You see what I mean? We all just sort of operate under this idea that things just are the way they are. And because of that, whether we realize it or not, we're saying that we believe nothing else is possible. All this brings us back to the story of Zacchaeus. Over the last few weeks, we've been talking through an encounter Zacchaeus had with Jesus. Just to review, Zacchaeus was a guy with a bad reputation. He was a tax collector, which back then meant he was a really bad guy. He cheated, he lied, he stole, and all that made him the kind of guy nobody wanted to hang out with. In most everyone's eyes, Zacchaeus was a bad guy who was just never going to change. But then Zacchaeus had a personal experience with Jesus. As you might remember, Jesus spotted Zacchaeus up in a tree. Out of the entire crowd, he noticed Zacchaeus. Then Jesus went over to him, called him by name, and even invited himself over to Zacchaeus' house. Now, of course, people were shocked. Look back at what they said in response to Jesus' interaction with Zacchaeus. All the people saw this and began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." So obviously, this crowd thought Zacchaeus was a sinner. And it seems like they thought this was all he would ever be. Because of that, Jesus shouldn't want to be in his home, right? He shouldn't want anything to do with Zacchaeus. But as you might remember, Jesus made it personal by stepping into love and getting to know Zacchaeus, regardless of what other people, and even Zacchaeus himself, might have thought. And look at what happened as a result. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." Talk about change. In this short interaction, Jesus didn't say much. He didn't give Zacchaeus a lecture or preach a sermon. He didn't call him out for his mistakes. He didn't limit Zacchaeus to the sum of his bad choices. Instead, Jesus treated Zacchaeus like a person he cared about, a person he knew by name, a person he wanted to hang out with, a person with the potential to change. And that changed everything. Because of what Jesus did for him, Zacchaeus was able to change. He offered to not just pay everyone back, but give them at least 4 times what he stole from them. His personal encounter with Jesus changed his life. And then it changed his relationship with the people around him. Zacchaeus was now someone who was committed to making things right. That was a change. And here's what I think is so cool about this story. Jesus didn't wait to approach Zacchaeus until after he changed. He looked at Zacchaeus before and saw his potential to change. And he looks at us the same way. See, it's personal because Jesus knows your potential. He knows that no matter who you are, how old you are, what circumstances you are in, or what things you've done, you have the potential to change. Your life can change. Things can be different. You have the potential to change. So, what does that mean? Well, for starters, if you want to see change happen, the first thing you should do is start hanging out with Jesus. When Jesus spent time with Zacchaeus, it got personal. It helped him change. And it can do the same for us. If you want to see change in your life, start by spending time with Jesus. This can happen all kinds of ways, through prayer, through worship, journaling, reading your Bible, spending time at church, or talking to your group leader. However you choose to do it, I can promise you that spending time with Jesus will help you change. Then look around at the people Jesus has put in your life. How can you help them see their potential? How can you encourage them to change? Remember, it's personal because Jesus knows your potential. And that's true not just for you, but for the people around you too. So, who in your life have you viewed like Zacchaeus? Who have you believed just can't change? This week, take a step to change the way you see them. Pray that Jesus would help you see their potential. Ask him to make it personal with them like he has for you. Ask him to help you be a voice of encouragement toward change in their life. Because just like Jesus made it personal for us, he wants us to make it personal to others. Remember, there is no age restriction for change to happen. You have so much potential right now. There's no limit. You simply have to start believing change is possible. Zacchaeus climbed a tree to see Jesus, and something significant took place when he did that. It got personal. His life changed. And the same can be true of us. When we step toward Jesus, we open ourselves up to the potential of big change. It's personal because Jesus knows your potential. And there's someone else Jesus has put in your life that knows your potential too. Your group leader. They want to know you, like really know you, and they already love you. And they show up every week because they want to encourage you to fulfill the potential Jesus sees in you. So as you go to group, think about this question. What's one thing I want to change in my life?
So what did we see in our lesson today? We saw that the crowd had assumptions and maybe even conclusions about Zacchaeus that we may have had about others or even ourselves. They may have felt that Zacchaeus would never amount to anything more than just a sinner. But Jesus saw differently. And when Jesus came into Zacchaeus' life, he made it personal. And then what happened? Zacchaeus changed, and in a big way too. What a story, right? Jesus didn't wait for Zacchaeus to change to have a relationship with him. And he does the same for us. He doesn't wait for us to change to have a relationship with us. And why is that? Because he knows that no matter what, we have the potential for change. And that's the bottom line this week. That Jesus knows our potential for change, and he makes it personal because he knows that we can change. And we don't have to be the same all the time. And there is room for us to grow. Marcus in today's lesson gave us some practical steps that we can apply in our lives. You can talk more about it in your online small group. Small group is a safe place for your questions and even your concerns. So I hope you can join. That's a wrap on today's session and the series called It's Personal. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye!